children's librarian at both the New York and Brooklyn public libraries. That career continued when he moved here to Phoenix at the Phoenix and Maricopa public libraries, where he's been recognized as an award-winning library strategist. And recently, given an opportunity to investigate other lifelong passions, Marshall has been out there creating a new niche for himself. So, welcome to the stage, the Valley's very one and only, there's none other, information curator, Marshall Shore.
So, welcome everyone. I'd like to welcome you to my house. So come on in. It's a lovely 1956 ranch. Lovely seafoam and cantaloupe trim. Isn't it adorable? Basically, moving here from New York, wanted something with nice, simple, clean lines, well constructed, that we knew we were really the caretakers until the next people took it over. The kitchen, buttercream yellow tile on the counters. The original yellow window wall oven with no window. So to look at everything, you have to open the door and take a look and see, is it done? You'll notice the lovely push buttons inset in the wall. So here you start to see some of the clean, simple lines, but we tried to keep it as original as possible, but then we kind of cranked up the flooring, the volume on the floor a little bit. Traditional, yet non-traditional. And so then you have the lovely, again, some lovely teal wall. Here you have good art. Yes, kind of museum quality, our own version of it. And you know, and when we have good art, it's kind of like an idea. They start proliferating and start building until you suddenly wind up with organized chaos that seems to start taking over. Ideas that just start propagating in your mind, where suddenly not only is a wall covered with images, art, but now even a dress picked up by the pound becomes a planter for some lovely soap flowers. You have a lovely paint-by-numbers clown covered in blue fur on the frame. Because why not? The original frame we bought from a homeless man on the subway was just a little too bland. So why not ramp it up? And each of these really has a story, a connection to me in some way. Recently, I was featured on Antiques Roadshow. I was in the feedback booth. I took two objects, and not really worth anything. What a great experience. So this was one of the objects I took with me. It was this lovely wind-up rabbit made out of an old coffee can. Now, Mr. Mechanical Rabbit lives next to the Emperor of Prague. Basically, the Emperor came into my life when politics here in the US started going south a couple of years ago, and there was a constitutional amendment that may have made me, as a gay person, a second-class citizen. So Prague was a possible escape hatch. If things got so bad that I was fearing for my life, it was a place to go. So when you start looking at, okay, one religious icon, you have another, and another. You suddenly have a collection of religious icons. But to me, each one is also a story, completely unrelated. I mean, you'll have the big Inferno of Prague, which actually came from my partner's mother. Now, like ideas, swizzle sticks. Because, you know, if you have one, you have 100, 200. Now, you see the Ramada Inn fellow here. Basically, when purchased years ago, irrelevant. But I recently had coffee with a local sign designer who made some amazing signs here in Phoenix, who built and designed the Ramada Inn sign. And yes, just like swizzle sticks, just like religious icons, there are books. This is pretty much my reference house shelf. So basically, anytime I'm doing work on the house, is it closely related to the era or not? How much am I cranking up the volume? Is it to a point where you suddenly need a structure to house all these different concepts, all these different ideas, all these stories that is my life? It's just that you start realizing this is not that far removed from all these stories, ideas, concepts, and themes that when you walk into another space called a library, that you'll find as well. Now, I've worked over 20 years in libraries, and traditionally public libraries seem to organize by the Dewey Decimal System, which, as you all hopefully know, is a series of numbers chosen by Melville Dewey. And they kind of are unique because a lot of people don't get it. And sometimes they actually scare people, and they don't want to use the library because of this. So it's like when you start realizing that, it's like, okay, what are the other options? What kinds of things can we do? Well, I worked in a library that kept audiobooks in these lovely green boxes with just random production numbers on them, so they could be sent out to people's homes. So each of these, I mean, fiction, non-fiction, biographies, you name it, it was all in an identical little green box. Now, I also had the pleasure of working at the Mackenzie Institute when I was getting my library degree at Indiana University, where we organize information and things that you probably wouldn't want to talk about at dinner table. Just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that, and the ways you can organize information, it's pretty much endless. And so, here I have, as a pioneer and a heretic. Basically, from here, the opening day of the library in Gilbert, where I got national recognition, I was on NPR because of this library opening up that was designed to look and act like a bookstore, except everything was free. We got rid of the numbers, and basically everything was a word-based taxonomy, so that you could walk in and find what you were looking for, unhindered by staff, or cataloging, or whatever other reasons that would impede you. So that was really the whole reason to do that. Now, just like Swizzle Sticks, you know, if you're going to make a drink, you need some booze. So here you have some booze. And again, pretty much almost every bottle up here has a story. I mean, some have come from friends, some have come from people I have no idea who they are. But again, if you enjoyed this or would like to hear more about Arizona history, I do a monthly show at Phoenix Metro Retro every second Thursday, $5, live theater presentation of Arizona history. Thank you.